Okay, when you're watching a movie, when you're watching a particular play, a particular movie, okay, which country pushes that thing of Christmas heavy? But Christmas ain't within the scriptures. When you go to where the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are heavy into Christmas, that's actually a thing that's gonna lead to their own death. The scripture says that you shall have no other gods before me. When you go into the thing of Christmas, you find out that it was really Saturnalia. They're having it to where what? They're having it to where the people are worshiping the false gods of the heathen. That's what's happening, man. You go into the scriptures, it says, follow not the ways of the heathen, neither be dismayed. Okay, the stars within the sky. That's what's written within the scriptures for you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans as a conduct. Okay, as a statement of how you're supposed to conduct yourself. So when we was gonna be scattered amidst these different heathen nations, and we was gonna see that it works, we were supposed to go back onto the scriptures and decipher whether that thing is biblical or not. And we go into Easter. Easter is not biblical. Christmas is not biblical. All right. When you go into the different festivals that they have within this society, what's known as holy days, because people have a holiday and they actually think that holiday, all right, has nothing spiritual about it. And when I mean spiritual, I ain't talking about spiritual just on the right hand side. I'm talking about on the left hand side too. A lot of these so-called holidays fall within what? They fall within the so-called calendar of witches, and there's a reason why that is. Now, when you're having so-called Christmas break, okay, and they give you a couple of days off from the job, which is cool. We like days off, okay, but they have it to where that falls what? That falls within the calendar of witches. All right, because really, when you go into the elite banking families and how they're Illuminati and all of this, that, and the third, they're Masons and all of that, that's all dealing with witchcraft, man. The scripture says that I suffer not a witch to live. All right, but that's all going into witchcraft. You go into the next holiday after Christmas. What is it? I forget which one it is. I think it's Easter. Again, that falls within the whole so-called witchcraft calendar. All right, so all these so-called holidays that you be having, and really that's pushed by who? By America. They all fall within the so-called witchcraft calendar. Because why? Because this is the place where you're gonna have a lot of witchcraft. They was gonna have a lot of deceit and enchantments that they was gonna push out there, and they was gonna make that into a way of life. That's written about within the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. And then the scripture says that what? Stand out within that enchantments and see that you was gonna prosper by them. Because ultimately it's the Most High that has to put these different spirits on the left-hand side, put it within their so-called mentality, all right, to do certain things. So these so-called demons that speak to these elite banking families, they tell them to go out there and kill a whole bunch of Jake out there within the neighborhood, and they'll prosper within that. Okay, but when it comes into the latter times and the end times, okay, the last days of the last days, they're gonna go and refer back onto those particular spirits, and they're gonna find out it ain't prospering in them. We can go back onto that within the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, a little bit later on. Okay, so back within the book of Isaiah, the 17th chapter, and the 3rd verse. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet beast. Now that was a particular indicator. All right, when you read the scriptures, there are certain things that allude to certain nations. Okay, the thing of scarlet and red alludes onto the nation of Edom. That's the red nation, because that goes into hand in hand with the next lesson. In fact, I might slip that in there now. All right, and deal with that for a period of time, and then go back onto the thing of what of America being the main ones that push idolatry. Now the what's it called? The secondary lesson that I had, all right, was that what they're not really white. These are really red people, and that goes into what? That goes into the thing of the scriptures, because the scriptures told you that. All right. In fact, I could get that now. I'm gonna get that now. All right. The different things dealing with the redness of this man rather than the whiteness of this man. Okay, because they pushed that thing of white and black, because what? Because black was all about dealing with darkness, man. Okay, dealing with being devoid of knowledge, okay, being devoid of the truth. And white was all about what? Making it to where they was righteous. All right, white's not a pigment. Okay, neither is black. You got different shades of brown, okay, and then you got red. Okay, you got different shades of brown, and then you got red. Hell, within amidst the so-called Negroes, you got certain people that got a high red hue about them, but they're really dark skinned, they're really brown, and then you erode that all the way. Now you got it to where you got what? You got the Edomites that have it to where their blood shows fall through their skin. All right, because why? Because their pigmentation is wasted away. The Most High put the mark upon them so that people was going to identify them as that particular nation. But that's why we know them. That's why we call them the devil. Because why? Because they have deceived the world into believing that they're the righteous. In fact, when you go into the scriptures, into the book of Revelations, it says that what? The synagogue of Satan was going to call themselves the Jews. Now that's dealing with Jacob that are really not a part of the elect, but that's applicable also to these Amalekites that are within the land of Israel right now, possessing the land of the Lord, and they're calling it their own land. Or hell, you got Rothschild Boulevard out there within the land of Israel, okay, because the Rothschilds are the ones that really control that particular land, because they're all part of the same group of people. Okay, so let me go into the scriptures now. I'll start within the book of Genesis, 25th chapter. Okay, and show you that these people ain't really red. They ain't really white. They're really red, and that's how the Most High set it out from the foundations of the earth. All right, and that was a key identifier. When you come across a nation of red people, a man atop a red horse, which is a precept I'm gonna get in a second. All right, when you see that, you were supposed to come to the understanding that this is dealing with the Edomites, and this is the so-called white people that rule the world right now. Okay, that you know as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all right, the DuPonts, all right, the different elite banking families, and then the people underneath them. Okay, so the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. And I'll start from the 23rd verse. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier on, but see now the spirits come around full circle. Okay, so Genesis 25 and 23 it says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb. Because at particular times, the Most High will have a certain line, and then he will split the line through those people. So you had it to where Noah split into three, and it became three fathers, the father of three nations, if you will. Okay, the Shemitic people, the Hamitic people, and the Japhetic people. All right, you had it to where the seed of I forget the father of the father. Okay, but Abram. And all of the different people that split out there, okay, that I believe that was one family. Okay, and the sons of Abram, you had it to where Ishmael was one of those sons. Okay, it was Isaac was one of those sons. All right, and they all split up into different nations. All right, so when it came down to Jacob and Esau, the Most High divided those nations. Now you can call them brothers. Jacob and Esau were brothers, but they were also different nations. In fact, the scripture says that the Most High gave them a different spirit to each other, and this is what the scripture speaks about here. Okay. Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowel. One people shall be stronger than the other. When we go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter and the 6th verse, it says that what? How that the Most High said, we are a holy people unto him, okay, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we know that the stronger people is the Israelites, and the weaker people is the Edomites. Now their lack of pigmentation also means that what? That they can't stand within the sun. All right, their skin starts to peel away. They're more susceptible to particular diseases. In fact, when you go into the pigmentation of their eyes too, you find out that they can't look at the sun for extended periods of time. Okay, they can't be in a climate like we're in right now, where the sun's out. Okay, and you gotta look around. Let's say you're going hunting or something. Them blue eyes are more susceptible to damage. Okay, and what's known as disadvantage when you got a sunny climate. Okay, so they're weaker just by nature, but also when you go into the thing of the spirit, all right, you find out that Jacob was given the stronger spirit because he was able to do all kind of wonderful things. The scripture says we are the salt of the earth. One of the main things that the Most High gave us was our ability to go into these scriptures. That's the main thing that the Lord gave us. All right, that's better than any other nation, because the Most High had it to where the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are able to go into these scriptures and understand these scriptures because we're his sons. That's where the term Yasharallah comes into, where you know within the English is Israel. Okay, Yasharallah, he the prince with the power. All right, so we're linked unto the Most High with a spiritual connection, but they're linked unto the devil with a spiritual connection. That's why you go into the book of Revelations, the 17th chapter, when you go into the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, you find out that they trust in their wickedness. Okay, they trust in what's known as Wicca. Okay, witchcraft. All right, because they're connected unto what? Unto the left-hand side, and the left-hand side is all about what? It's all about witchcraft, death, and all of these kind of things. Okay, So going back onto the precept there, it says, and the people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And the elder was what? Was Esau, and it's going to tell you that. And it says, and when the days were to be delivered were fulfilled, the two twins were within her, and the first came out red all over, like an. Let me read it again. It says, and the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment, because when you had the particular garments back then, okay, you would dye them a certain way. Right now, you might have a goat skin garment. Okay, so it'll be hairy. All right, but you would have it to where what? You would have it to where you would dye that a particular color and it would become red. All right, so he looked like he was that red. He had that redness about him. All right, so this is who these people is talking about. These two nations that was going to be separated against each other, and they was going to have a perpetual clash against each other. All right, because the red man was going to rule for a period of time, but also too the dark skinned man, the black man, if you will. All right, for a lack of a better term, he was going to rule. All right, but really all of our descendants, because the scripture speaks about how the 12 tribes of Israel was going to be scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you was going to have certain particular Israelites that was going to look like Edomites, man. You was going to have certain particular Israelites that was going to look like straight up so-called Jews, man. Okay, and there was going to be what? Of the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. And the scripture says that in the last days, the Most High was going to sift the 12 tribes of Israel from all four corners of the earth. In fact, when you go into the thing of the harvest was all about what? The wheat and the tares. The harvest was all about doing the separation of the nations. Okay, so let me read this again because this is the point. It says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. All right, so one whole nation was going to follow this particular way of looking. The Most High was going to put that particular mark upon them to look red. And when you look around the earth, who are the red people? Who are the closest people to looking red? It ain't the Arabs, okay? It ain't the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. It's not the Moabites, okay? It's not the Japhites. It's you so-called white people. You're the red people that the scripture speaks about. When you get smacked in the face, you don't turn black. You turn red. Okay, when you get angry, when you see, when they see us pushing this word, when the so-called elite banking families are out there watching the videos of the different brothers rising up and pushing this word, they ain't getting all happy about that. They get so unhappy about that, they become red within the face. Okay? They become hot red with anger against this truth because that's their particular that's their characteristic. They're wasted away within their pigmentation, so they're the red nation. You're not white, you're red. Okay, and that was a mark that the Most High put upon you to indicate to the other nations that there was something wrong about you. And what's wrong about you? You're the one nation that gave up a birthright for food, man. All right, the scripture says there was no one more profane than Esau. Right, you're the seed of the wicked. Okay, you go into the three classifications of men that existed prior to the law, statutes, commandments being written down on the paper. You had the sons of God, the sons of men, and the sons of the wicked. These are the people that are ruling the world right now. And the Most High put a marker upon them to be the sons of the wicked, and you could identify for the most part, because we do know that the nations are scattered. This is where the thing of, you're racist, what, by color or by nations? Because we really, when you go into the scriptures, the Most High is racist by way of gene pool, man. Going to the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, what does it talk about? It's talking about a gene pool, the Israelite gene pool. And that gene pool was going to come looking like every other color underneath the sun. The scripture talks about how the Most High had it to where the seed of Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So if you're talking about color, my friend, I'm sorry, you're sadly mistaken. But if you're talking about race, as in gene, okay, the gene pool of the Israelites, man, that's my people right there. That's the whole, you got, this is a nice Saturday, and I'm out here for what? I'm out here for the express intent that the nation that the Lord had selected from the foundations of the earth be raised up. Okay, I pray Yahweh shall be an instrument, okay, within the raising up of that particular, this nation. But as for the other people away from that gene pool, they might look like they're dark skinned. You got dark skinned Hamitic people out there, okay, that be amidst the so-called Israelites. Okay, they be, you got a so-called, you got a lot of intermingling between Ham, okay, and Israel out there within the west coast of Africa. They ain't my people. They might be dark skinned as all hell. But the Most High said that what? He put a difference between the Israelites and them Hamites, man. Okay, the Israelite women were more lively than them Hamitic women. because they had the soul. Okay, they got the flavor, man. They got they got the rakah and the nefesh, man. The soul and the spirit. Okay, going back onto the Yahweh Hashem outside. But as for these other dark-skinned nations, the Most High don't give a damn about them. The scripture says that what? The nations are as a drop of a bucket, and they account as a small dust of the balance. But he said this about the 12 tribes of Israel. He said they are the principal focus of his looking. He said they are the, that's within the book of Zechariah 2:8. How did the Most High set it up to where what? That he's they're where the pupil of his eye. He that toucheth you touches the pupil of his eye, his principal focus. So you go into where these elite banking families are planning to make a move on this truth, well, let them do something, man. That's gonna bring about the kingdom of Yahweh Hashem outside quicker. Okay, when they're putting certain plans out to push out this truth and have it to where this truth is being removed from the earth, that's gonna have it to where the Lord is gonna establish the 12 tribes of Israel even sooner man. Okay, so continuing. Genesis, the 25th chapter. All right, I'll read that again. It says, and the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. All right, and that means what? It doesn't mean hairy, but I believe that goes into the word wasted away, Ashashwa. Okay, because what? Because his pigment was wasted away. And then he's what? He's the redness of his blood, okay, or rather more the redness so forth. Because really, when you go into blood really only turns red, all right, when it's really blue. But the way the iron within the blood reacts with the oxygen, it turns red when it's exposed to air, if I remember my science correctly. But really, he's red. Okay, so going back now into the because when you smack them, what do they turn? They turn red. They don't turn black. They don't turn white. They turn red because they are red. Okay, now let's go into the next precept now, dealing with the red man. Okay, and this is within the book of Revelations, and this is dealing with the red horse. Okay, so Revelations 19. No, not Revelations 19. Okay, Revelation 6 and 4. It says, and they went out another horse that was red, and this is allegorically. Okay, this is not literal. Okay, you ain't gonna look up into the sky and you're gonna see some red horse coming down, and the red horse was gonna rule the world. Okay, we're gonna put things into literal sense, and this is why I read the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. All right, because you have to identify that you have to put the 2 and 2 together. All right, the simple mathematics within the head to tell you that okay, there's a nation that was called red. Okay, so we know that a horse. Okay, that's where you get the word horsepower. They actually 200 horses underneath the hood. All right, that's just the word that's used because of what? A horse represents power. So you got a powerful nations that are likened unto red. What nation of people was that? This was the red people that was spoken about from the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. How that there was going to be a whole nation that was going to have this particular mark upon them, all right, where they was going to be red. Okay, so power was going to be given unto him. So what's going to happen when power was going to be given unto him? And power was given unto him that sat thereon, all right, to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and they was given unto him a great sword. So when you go into the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter now, you're going to find out that the Most High gave Esau the blessing of the sword. That's why they bring forth particular technologies like you got chemical weapons. Then them chemical weapons, they're the scariest because you ain't, you be exposed to a particular chemical weapon, you don't even know you've been exposed to it because it's so small. Okay, it ain't like you see the ICBM missile in the sky, you say your last goodbyes and you get wiped off the face of the earth. Them chemical weapons, really, they're like the worst thing because you could be inhaling all kinds of chemicals right now, okay, that could put you to make you drop dead in 24 hours, man. Them chemical weapons, they're one of the greatest swords that Esau pushed forth out there, okay, because some of them are untraceable, man. Mustard gas, all of these kind of things. All right, but those are all instruments, they're all part of the sword that the Most High blessed him with, and that's spoken about within the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter. Okay, and I think it's about the 34th verse, which is the blessing that Esau got, all right, from his father Isaac. All right, so Genesis 27 and 39, it says, and Isaac his father answered him, and he said, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. That was the same blessing that was given unto Jacob, because for a period of time, the red man was going to rule the world. Okay, you had it to where during after the Byzantine Empire, all right, which was ruled by the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you had it to where the Amalekites, okay, started getting up into the ranks of the Byzantine Empire, and over a process of the time, they established a stronghold within the earth. To the end of the world right now is controlled by who? It's controlled by the Amalekites, man. Okay, who you know is the so-called Jews within the earth right now. Okay, they're the ones that control the earth, but really they're from the nation of Edom. All right, more specific, the house of Amalek, which the house of Edom, the house within Edom known as Amalek. Okay, so it says here, behold, that the dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. All right, and of the dew of heaven from above. Not by the sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. So ultimately, he was going to serve his brother, who was who? Who was Jacob. Okay, but he was going to live by the sword. And that's the time we're living in right now, because what? Because he's living by the sword. He's going out there to conquer all kinds of different nations. All right, by what? By the sword. He ain't conquering them in righteousness like how King David can conquer them in righteousness. You find out a lot of the moves that the Most High made, okay, the military moves that the Most High made on our enemies, they were justified. Okay, you go into the book of Wisdom and Solomon, it tells you how the Most High was justified in taking out those so-called Canaanite nations that was in the land of the Lord before the Israelites went in there, because they was all up into what? They was all up into witchcraft. Okay, you find out the different nations that King David took down, it was all a spiritual justification for the Most High taking them down. But when Esau rolls out there into the Middle East, he's not going out there because he's establishing righteousness. He's going out there because he's establishing wickedness. Then after 2 years, the children are all bugged out and crazy. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook. Okay, the women are going crazier. Okay, because they're the ones that bring in the madness to combat equality and government structure and all of this. And now all of a sudden the whole nation is corrupted. All right, here it is when you had it to where Esau's influence wasn't amidst those Middle Eastern all that much. They was raising up half decent children. Now they was into their madness. Okay, they're so-called gods and that. But they were more collected people.